Why is the United States actively positioning for conflict in the southern Caribbean? To address that, we have to examine the large-scale reactivation of Cold War infrastructure that has remained idle for many years. What is unfolding at the Roosevelt Roads Naval Station in Puerto Rico, once the largest U.S. naval base on the planet? This complex was shut down in 2004. But reports now suggest it is being quickly restored to service.
Some visuals in this report are used under fair use for news analysis, courtesy of Airtele. We encourage viewers to check out and support their channel.
The U.S. military is converting this civilian zone back into a forward operations base. And what about the Henry E. Rolson Airport located in the U.S. Virgin Islands? This facility is no longer only for visitors anymore and is being reconfigured into a logistics center to support heavy military transport. But why is the U.S. doing this at this moment? There are two primary catalysts. Is it connected to Russia and China? Yes. Intelligence assessments indicate that Moscow and Beijing are not merely engaging Venezuela. They are seeking to establish permanent military installations. The U.S. views this as a strategic threat, a direct challenge to the Monroe Doctrine that cannot be ignored. Is it about energy? Absolutely. We are already observing the early signals of conflict. U.S. Coast Guard helicopters have reportedly been seen intercepting and detaining oil tankers departing Venezuelan waters. They are restricting the regime's revenue streams before any open fighting begins. If an attack happens, what ships are already positioned near Puerto Rico? The U.S. Navy has organized a specific strike chain. They are using the USS Jason Dunham Arleigh Burke class destroyer. Its role is not only guided missile destroyer, it also serves as an electronic warfare platform. The Jason Dunham is positioned to disrupt Venezuelan communications and disable their coastal radar systems. They are the first phase of attack to disorient. And why is the USS Stockdale present? The Stockdale functions as the shield. Equipped with advanced Aegis missile defense systems, its task is to intercept any anti-ship missiles launched back toward the fleet. But how do we know this is an invasion and not just a blockade? Because of the USS Iwo Jima, it is a large amphibious assault ship. You do not deploy this vessel unless you intend to place ground forces ashore. It is built to deliver Marines directly onto hostile coastlines. But the United States is not only operating from the north, they are also using the island nation of Trinidad and Tobago to close the southern corridor. How is Trinidad being used? The U.S. Navy is operating in nearby waters to restrict movement through the Gulf of Paria. Here the USS Gravely acts as the hunter. The Gravely functions as a forward sentinel, ensuring no Venezuelan submarines or fast attack craft escape into the Atlantic and threaten shipping lanes. And what role does the USS Lake Erie play? This Ticonderoga-class cruiser serves as the air defense coordinator for the entire operation, managing aircraft and vessels from its advanced command center. But ships are slow, so how will the United States deliver the first strike? This is where air power enters the picture. The B-52 Stratofortress bombers will not even land in the Caribbean. They will fly directly from the continental United States, release their heavy payload of cruise missiles, and return home without ever touching the ground. What about the B-1 Lancer? These supersonic bombers will be used for rapid attacks. They can dive in at low altitude and high speed to destroy fortified targets before the opponent realizes they are there. But where will the bulk of the Air Force operate from? This is why Roosevelt Roads in Ceiba, Puerto Rico, is so critical. It places tactical aircraft just minutes away from the target. The MQ-9 Reapers will hover over Venezuela for hours, tracking mobile missile launchers and eliminating them with Hellfire missiles the moment they move. Meanwhile, the F-35s will act as the door kickers. Their mission is to penetrate Venezuelan airspace undetected and neutralize the S-300 air defense batteries so the other aircraft can fly safely. Here are the V-22 Osprey speed and versatility. These tilt-rotor aircraft will deploy from the USS Iwo Jima and Puerto Rico to insert special operations teams deep behind enemy lines. But all that firepower requires fuel. So, the KC-130s, these tankers will orbit near the combat zone, allowing the F-35s and other jets to remain in the fight for hours without returning to base. And finally, why the C-17 cargo transports for logistics? You cannot fight a war without supplies. The C-17s will be flying non-stop into Roosevelt Roads and Henry E. Rolson Airport, bringing in the vehicles, the ammunition, and the troops needed to sustain the attack. So, is the attack inevitable? When you see the bombers on standby, the amphibious ships in position, and the forward bases being reactivated, it appears the decision has already been made. Let us take a look at different scenarios and strategies from both sides. The U.S. Navy's destroyers, submarines, amphibious ships, Marines, and P-8 Poseidon aircraft are positioned near Venezuela, with a multifaceted strategy designed to confront both the Venezuelan military and the powerful drug cartels operating within the country. From the U.S. perspective, the operation combines extensive surveillance, precision strikes, rapid amphibious assaults, and maritime interdiction to neutralize threats and apply pressure on the Maduro regime. The destroyers provide advanced air, sea, and missile defenses while maintaining the ability to launch accurate cruise missile strikes against strategic government and military targets deep inside Venezuela. By sustaining a vigilant missile defense posture, these ships are prepared to intercept hostile aircraft or missile threats. They also employ anti-submarine warfare assets to secure the task group's maritime perimeter against underwater threats posed by Venezuelan naval forces. In surface combat, the destroyers defend against militia boats or Venezuelan naval vessels attempting to disrupt blockades or amphibious operations. As the name suggests, a destroyer is equipped to carry roughly 90 missiles within its vertical launch system. A Mark 45 deck gun is positioned at the front, followed by close-in combat defenses and a CIWS missile system. But that is not all. It also carries Harpoon anti-ship missiles and torpedo tubes for subsurface threats. And if that is not enough, there is a submarine hunter-killer Seahawk helicopter equipped with sonar and torpedoes featured in the upcoming video. These warships are designed for destruction and protection, but they are not suitable for invasion. But how do you launch a land invasion from the sea? The answer is that these amphibious assault ships are specialized warships designed to deploy and support ground forces during military operations, particularly in hostile or contested environments. They resemble small aircraft carriers, but are primarily focused on launching and supporting helicopters, vertical or short takeoff and landing V-22 aircraft like the MV-22 Osprey and F-35B Lightning, an amphibious landing craft. The amphibious ships carry thousands of Marines trained for rapid expeditionary raids and large-scale amphibious assaults. These Marines would conduct precision strikes on cartel strongholds, government command centers, or key coastal infrastructure. Their urban combat training equips them to seize airports, communications hubs, and other critical points, potentially operating in coordination with opposition forces inside Venezuela. Here comes the nuclear-powered attack submarine, operating covertly and silently along Venezuela's maritime approaches. It gathers vital intelligence by intercepting communications and monitoring naval activity. It can deliver surprise long-range missile strikes to disrupt regime command and control, jam air defenses, or destroy military facilities. Its presence also deters any third-party naval reinforcements from countries like Russia or Iran, complicating efforts to reinforce the Maduro regime. The P-8 Poseidon aircraft extend the task force's eyes and ears over a vast area. They conduct continuous intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance flights deep into Venezuelan airspace and waters, tracking air defense installations, military movements, and cartel smuggling operations. These aircraft work closely with surface and underwater naval assets to designate targets for missile strikes and monitor submarine activity. They are also capable of electronic warfare operations to disrupt Venezuelan communications and command networks, limiting the regime's operational responsiveness. But why is a single submarine such a serious threat to an entire navy? The answer is these torpedoes. So, let's look at how it works. Pressurized air drives the torpedo toward its target. Step number 2. A piston engine with propellers maximizes the torpedo's speed. Step number 3. It trails a wire connected to the weapon systems aboard the submarine, using data to navigate. Step number 4. The torpedo accelerates to 32 knots, or roughly 35 miles per hour, with a range of 8 miles, or 12 kilometers. Step number 5. As it approaches its target, the wire is cut and its sonar assumes control of navigation. Step number 6. If a torpedo misses its target, it can circle back and begin hunting the target using its sonar. This single torpedo carries the explosive power of 1,200 pounds of TNT. And you do not want to be on the receiving end of this weapon, but reports suggest that new variants, such as the Barracuda torpedo, or supercavitating designs, are expected to be the latest upgrades. But how would Venezuela counter US command of the seas? While the military and cartels prepare to defend the regime and preserve control through a mix of conventional and asymmetric tactics, the Venezuelan military, although smaller and technologically less advanced, relies on knowledge of local geography, led air defense sites, and large-scale militia mobilization, reportedly numbering over 4.5 million, to counter amphibious assaults and defend key infrastructure. The military employs coastal and naval patrols to challenge US naval operations and uses missile systems to threaten incoming aircraft and ships. The Venezuelan cartels, deeply intertwined with certain military elements, use their familiarity with the terrain, fast boats, and smuggling networks to complicate maritime interdiction. Their tactics include evading surveillance through irregular routes, blending with civilian traffic, and leveraging dense jungle terrain for cover against raids. Thus, the likely conflict scenario involves led US efforts to monitor and interdict cartel trafficking by combining aerial surveillance and naval interdiction with submarine strikes and missile attacks against regime military infrastructure to degrade response capability. Meanwhile, US amphibious forces would act decisively to seize strategic points, suppress resistance, and isolate Maduro's loyalist elements. This is how Venezuela would mount a hybrid defense combining conventional military resistance, local militia networks for asymmetric warfare, and cartel tactics to sustain illicit operations and slow US advances. This complex confrontation reflects both sides' strategic priorities. The United States pushes to dismantle narcotics networks and apply regime change pressure with overwhelming technological and tactical superiority, While Venezuela relies on numerical militia mobilization, deep familiarity with the terrain, and asymmetric tactics to counterbalance its disadvantages in technology and firepower. And finally, here comes Russia. Russia is likely to supply Venezuela with long-range drones such as Shahd and Duran systems. These drones could be deployed by Venezuela for covert strikes against U.S. assets, leveraging their loitering capability to conduct precision attacks on airfields, command centers, or logistics hubs. This would form part of a broader strategy to counter U.S. military pressure and project asymmetric threat capabilities.
Some visuals in this report are used under fair use for news analysis, courtesy of AirTele. We encourage viewers to check out and support their channel.